Are your beliefs about money, family, or even faith destroying your chances of happiness? Today we're exposing the truth about living for the moment. We are going to start by trying to compartmentalize traits into three main categories. People rarely fit into boxes snugly. However, as the video progresses, you're going to find out that you resonate with more traits than others. We are going to talk about the people who live right in the moment. They don't pay attention whatsoever to the future or to the past. If I was going to describe them in one phrase, it would be YOLO. You only live once. The other main characteristic that they have is giving in to each and every desire that they experience in the now. The main advantage of being in this category is the ability to move on, to adapt. The second advantage of being in this subtype is being able to live life to the fullest in the moment and dealing with consequences later. Partners to these people usually fall in love with them because of the spontaneity. One of the main disadvantages of being in this archetype is instability, because the extent to which they embrace change is just over the top. The majority of them are going to live a very difficult life financially in the future. They might miss and they might disrupt relationships whilst living for the now because they don't care to mend things that happened in the past. They don't care about how much they're going to have in their bank account. The following archetype are the people who live in the past. They live for this. It's either their past was extremely good or it was extremely terrible. If it was really good, maybe they were rich at the beginning, or their parents were rich, they passed on and they couldn't maintain the status. Usually they just feel like they're still rich. They are always trying to live upon the privileges of their previous richness. If something extremely terrible has happened to this person, they usually stuck on that issue. Probably they wouldn't have forgiven the person that did them wrong, or they are just feeling like it's too late to try something new. You know, it might be a relationship ending, it might be an abusive relationship with a parent or a guardian. All those things, people can actually dwell on them and end up not doing anything to their good. They just live and let that one situation identify them. I can slightly relate to this because I've had like some really good moments in my past that I have stuck to, and they sort of like made me forgo things that were good that I could have had because I was stuck on the previous things that I had experienced. On the other side, I've had some terrible events happening and I got stuck on that, led my life with bitterness. It drove me to do different things and make a few bad decisions. Of course, there are certain advantages of living for the past. The advantages are usually good for relationships where the relationship was really good at the beginning and you remember those days and they motivate you to just keep going with that same momentum. That's good for living in the past. The second thing is you can keep on referring to the past to draw some lessons. Then we have the third archetype. These people are pro-future. Everything they do is for the future self. They save a lot. A lot of minimalists actually fall into this category. They are good future. I would say a big chunk of people, almost everyone, falls into this group because we are always doing things for the future. I mean, when we go to school, when we go to work, and when we open a savings account, we are all trying to make sure that the future self is richer. In this archetype, we are foregoing everything that's good or everything that we feel we desire right now and hoping that in the future we'll be able to enjoy even more. But there's a risk to this because we don't know the future. Tomorrow is never promised. And even if you reach the future, would you be in the same mind space? These are some of the disadvantages of being in this archetype where you defer everything to the future, forgetting that age is always going to come in and take away a lot of energy from you. You're going to notice that people are falling into all the different categories. You might have some traits of the first category where you are living in the moment, and you might have some traits of living in the past, and then the other part, living in the future. That's where we want to be, because if you look at all these archetypes, there are some advantages, some better, some less better, and there are some disadvantages, some worse, and some are really the worst. at the end of the day, you cannot really be in one archetype and have things going very well for you, because there's always going to be remorse and regret in all the three archetypes. With the first archetype of people living in the now, probably going to regret the relationships they didn't mend when they could, or not engaging in unwanted or undesired activities that could have made their future good. Then the third archetype, always regretting that they could have done more when they were younger, when they had the energy, because the BMW that they would have bought at 60 is not fun enough. It's not important anymore. They will all have their advantages, right? Because there are going to be so many lessons from the past. There are also going to be very good moments of living in the moment. There's going to be a very comfortable life for the people who invested into the future. So at the end of the day, you have to find that nuance. You have to find that balance in between all the three sub-archetypes and find ways of dividing yourself into these three categories. What are you doing for your current self? What are you doing for the past? What are you doing for the young boy that lives within you who experienced a lot of trauma when they were young? What are you doing for your future self who's going to be 60, not able to work, and most probably not having the same interest as you did when you were 20? And really, that's the most important message that I wanted to leave you today. Make that balance, take inventory, reflect a bit more. What are the things that you could have been doing a bit more for your health, for your finances, for your relationships, in every aspect of your life? What other things could you have done better? What other things should you do less of? And that's how we move forward. Let me know which archetype you're falling into. And I hope I've prompted you to reflect and think deeper on what are you doing to have that balance. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon.